If I start recording now, after a little breakup of internet,
Should we restart
maybe
again?
get a good program. I think what we were talking about was that people have been trying for the last 65 years or more to get out of agreements they made with the wrong extraterrestrials to get the technology we're enjoying today illegally, meaning illegal as far as breaking an off-world treaty to provide it to people here. People on Earth did not invent the nuclear bomb. No, it was illegally given to German scientists and Nazis by people you would not want to take to dinner. And then it was moved into Russia and the United States after the war, along with people who were pardoned, who were connected to such things. Now, this is just history. To have a nuclear bomb go off, or hydrogen bombs or any of that, was not technology scientists on Earth were ready to develop. It was snuck into the planet covertly. Some beings out there wanted the people on Earth to annihilate themselves so they could just come here and take the resources. They didn't care about the people. But they didn't get away with that. And the reason they didn't get away with it was not because of what people on Earth did. We're not alone in the universe. So we didn't get destroyed, but not because of what people chose to do on Earth, because what beings from other worlds chose to not let us do a number of times, because that kind of thing would negatively affect life in parallel dimensions that are part of toroidal zero-point energy that people on Earth are barely in their infancy of understanding. We don't have the right to annihilate this world and harm hundreds of billions of other lives in other realities, or even in our own solar system. People on Earth think in their tyrant natures of fear that they have that right. They don't. And so we were prevented from destroying ourselves by beings who are not of this earth or not native to here. I want to make this clear because it's a very highly classified issue. Disclosure about the nature of life beyond Earth is underway. Classified people are very paranoid, living in subconscious negative drives. Most of them know they have that, and they still make decisions based on subconscious negativity or fear. And so they make many incorrect decisions about what to fund and when and how. And when it backfires on them worldwide, then they throw money at it to try to fix it. It's not going to go away this way. If people want this world to be straightened out, then people on Earth need to understand that we're not alone in the universe. I'm talking about the masses of people need to be told the truth. And they need to be told the truth in a way, with the assistance from friends from beyond this world, in such a way that it is done without destruction, rioting in the streets, or anything like that. This world cannot go forward the way it is and survive. And we're not going to be allowed to take the way this world is and the way we treat it, and different countries at each other's throats, out among the stars. It's just not going to be tolerated by beings that live out there. There are people in classified areas on this earth right now that know this, no matter what they're telling the people. So, how do you take a world like Earth, create one government that's benevolent and tells the people the truth? Because that's one of the requirements for us to play out there. And it's no joke. Nobody's denying this planet greater science, cures for disease, or longevity. But people need to discover on Earth what they are. And that's not a brain or a body. It's not DNA. The beings that are spherical, that what people on Earth call soul, are comprised out of toroidal or zero-point energy, the energy of the universe that is not nuclear or atomic in nature. That has nothing to do with the bodies they run. People on Earth may think they're highly evolved, but if they don't remember who they are, or how they got to be on Earth, or why they were born here with no memory or very little of what they were doing before they came here, that is not normal. People believe it is, but it isn't. There are beings from other worlds, kind, wonderful beings that can help us recover awareness like they have. So we can go out there and respectfully play among the stars with them. This world has to change in significant ways to do that. It's simple. This planet and its people are ready to make that leap. The people in charge right now in this world are afraid of disclosing that because of some of the abuses they've done while things were classified. So if they understand that this can be done in a non-destructive way, the people on this earth can be brought up to speed, so to speak, then emissaries from other worlds and that can come here and provide the kind of solutions that they've long ago mastered and share it with people here. It's a nice idea to think that we'll evolve scientifically and spiritually and as ethical people with the way things are and somehow transform the world. But if you look at the condition of this planet and its governments, it's not going to happen. There's no direction headed that way. At least not soon enough to prevent life from existing on this planet, from going extinct. It doesn't take a nuclear war to stop life on a planet. Burn down all the rainforests around the equator, you can do that. Then you don't have anything to filter out the carbon dioxide. The oceans produce 70% of the oxygen, but what filters out the CO2? So there are some practical issues here that are not being dealt with properly or efficiently fast enough, correctly, because money's being spent in all the wrong places. It just complicates the problem. We're going to need the friendship and assistance of beings from other worlds. And to do that, disclosure has to happen here. It's required by them. They're not going to take part in a deception, dishonesty to a mass of people and then have us come out there and lie to everybody out among the stars as well. It's not going to happen. It can't happen. So we can go on a journey, and the reason I share this is not to be negative in any way, because I'm probably one of the few people that has a completely optimistic view of the future of this planet and its people, but not because of what they know, because of what I know with friends from out of town, from off-world. Otherwise, I wouldn't know it either. So my endeavor is simply to, in my own humble capacity, is to share this with all the people of Earth, from my little part in it, because I'm just one Atma, one being, amongst trillions of others that aren't on this Earth. They're not even in this dimension. And all of this is real, more real than the little petty lives people think they're living on this Earth. Short little lives. They can't remember who they are. They don't really know what the source behind all life is because they are not allowed to have experience of it, just faith or belief. Faith should lead to experience, not just faith. It needs to lead somewhere into real direct knowing. There are many, many, many races among the stars in the physical universe alone that understand this. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of world systems. out there playing among the stars. We have to grow up to take our place among them. They can help us do that. It's just that simple. They don't want to run governments on Earth. No one in their right mind would want that awful task. They want people on Earth to fix this as they recover more of who they are. And that's really how it should be done. Okay, if we go on a journey, the reason we take these journeys is simple. To give people the experience of knowing what they can do and where they can go once they're made aware of it, when they put their body to sleep every night. They just take it for granted that this is a normal body function. What they don't understand is that the being that's running that body goes through a complex process of making the body go into a sleep state or a trance state. So it runs on automatic when you're gone. People all over the world go out every night, and they will go to places out of their body that's like the way they're thinking and feeling, draw it to themselves. It can be very negative, can be very positive. The universe, the zero-point or toroidal energy, is a living force. It's not as people understand it on Earth. And it responds to what we imagine or emotionally put into it. It's a co-creator with us. More advanced races understand this. So they're very careful about what they put in it. For instance, you can't go in space, out in the void of space, and store negative emotion and imagination in that void energy that supports planets and moons and suns and stars. You can't record it in that energy. That information alone can enlighten the planet. When they realize they can't take any of their negative energy out there and throw it into the energy that supports all things that float in it, they begin to understand more about higher science and how to work with it. And then they can make leaps across the galaxy in a day. But you have to work in harmony with that energy. It only works one way, and it will not, you cannot fool it or abuse it. It's something that's a point when a planet grows up to where they start to learn how to play in the energy that everything floats in out there. A galaxy is a tiny little speck in a huge, what people think is a black void with billions of galaxies in it. And that energy that supports those little whirling magnetic fields is far more vast than the things that float in it. And it gets bigger as it goes up into the higher realities, into parallel dimensions of higher frequency, and then up into higher divisions. Quantum physics and that you can, I mean, mathematically, they know that, well, they think there's 11 dimensions. There are more than that. But that's a beginning to know there are higher realities. They just don't know how to get to them, or they think they don't. So we get the bodies in this sleep thing people go into every night like masters. How does a being put a body to sleep? People assume incorrectly that the body, the brain, puts itself to sleep. It doesn't. That's why a person can stay up for 3 days if they want to. The body's not in charge. Unconscious people with amnesia, running bodies, are. And it causes the pineal gland to secrete serotonin, makes melatonin, does this whole thing to get the body running and breathing while you're gone. And there's an energy link to it. You could be 5 dimensions away from here, 1,000 galaxies away, and still be keeping a link to this body. The energy of being, which is spherical, like planets and moons and suns and stars, what people call soul, is not like one of these. And it does not live in or work in time and space. It runs molecular structures, machines, or DNA developed devices like a human body on Earth, so it can have experience about what's in, it's like to feel and see and experience that molecular time rate for that parallel dimension, like the planet Earth we're on right now. There are higher parallel dimensions, higher frequencies of matter, different worlds of Earth that people don't know exist on Earth yet. Maybe a few classified people do, they do. But they barely understand it. They're not sharing it with the public. The universe is what it is. And people on earth in power now are not going to change that to suit their own selfish ends. We have to go the other way. We have to humbly join, respectfully, other races, many of them human, that are out among the stars already. If we want to change this world, think of it like this. Out in history, in galactic history, where there have been worlds that have reached a similar stage of development and self-annihilation that this world represents today, could have been destroyed. Some were allowed to be, by the way, in the ancient past. But they could also, at the last minute, have an intervention from beings elsewhere who are kind and considerate and going to allow us to do that, to snap people out of this amnesia they're in, bring a whole nother level of understanding to a world, get everything straightened out, and then let them run their own affairs, and then they can come and play among the stars with others because they can be trusted to do it. It's just that simple. People on Earth the way they are cannot be trusted to do that. Not now. They could be. The potential's there. So I do these little journeys. There's no money involved, and I never charge anybody, as you know, Perry, for any of this. It's because of the work that I do and why I'm here. I wouldn't be allowed to. I wouldn't even think of doing it anyway. So these little radio shows go up on your YouTube channel, Awaken Hidden Truth. And then anybody can find them and watch them. They are, for me, for my part, a telepathic transmission. And I don't mean psychic. Telepathy is not psychic. I don't care what it says in the Earth Dictionary. It's a pure form of communication using a toroidal or zero-point energy between beings, not material matter. The energy of the universe that supports material worlds and suns and galaxies is not nuclear. What is it? Well, did people just think that some energy sprang out of the ground miraculously and supported all that wasn't nuclear, and they're supposed to remain ignorant of it forever? And think that all things are made of matter and DNA out there? What about all that space between worlds that's much more gigantic than the worlds that float in it? What is that? Where did that come from? What do we do with it? How do we work with it? Duh. We're going to have to if we want to play out there. Okay. We go on these journeys just so people can have the opportunity to get out of their body and know what they're doing while they're completely conscious. Because as you know, when a person puts their body to sleep at night, for most people on Earth, not all, they aren't aware of what they're doing. And they identify with the body so strongly, they kind of go unconscious with it. They go out and have journeys and experience. But they aren't trained from birth as children to know how to bring that awareness back to the brain and download it. That's the problem. I'm speaking strictly for people on Earth right now. I send out these tones, which is derived from the first half of the word human. Languages that are spoken on Earth and where they derive from did not originate on this planet. They may have changed since their introduction to the world over history, but they didn't originate here. Human beings did not originate on Earth at all. They were brought here from other worlds, even other galaxies where they did, where that kind of DNA was experimented on and risen to a point where beings, us, could run the brain and body of a more evolved structure to download more enlightening information into it and to have experience of what's around us in a particular parallel dimension of the matter of the physical universe at a certain time rate, molecular time rate. More advanced races know how to circumnavigate different molecular time rates within the physical universe. It is a natural outcome of playing with what people call anti-gravity. You can't play with anti-gravity, we'll call it that, or anti-gravitic forces and not discover the multidimensional nature of the universe. When I send out the hue, I'm doing this telepathically, meaning I'm simply communicating as a being, not the brain or body, to all the other Atmas hovering above bodies on Earth that don't remember or recall what or who they are, or how they came to be on this planet in the first place with little or no memory intact, former memory. It helps to to shut off negative subconscious impulses and influences that most people don't even know they have. And there are other beings involved that help this happen so that we can get above the atmosphere of the Earth, out in space, in the zero point or toroidal energy of the universe where no negative or positive nature exists. Not as people understand it on Earth. It's energy, but it isn't black as it looks like in NASA photographs, Hubble photographs, combined with radio telescope imagery, looking into infrared and ultraviolet and X-ray and gamma rays and all these other things they've labeled, which are higher frequencies of light beyond the range of what human eyes can detect. So you see, there really isn't a limit in the speed of light of 286,000 miles per second. People have bound themselves to that limit through their thinking. And down deep, they know there has to be a way to go faster than what they call visible light, because the races from other worlds can do it. And they know that. I will send this out to be of assistance for those who are sitting down or laying down with their eyes closed. Why do we close our eyes? Very simple. To shut off all input from the outer world on Earth into your brain. When you do that, that part of the brain is off. That means we're beginning to work with what people call daydreaming. I call it the creative imagination. This is the ability of an individual, not the brain or body, the being running the brain and body, to look into the multiverse as a part of the zero point energy itself, to see and know things out there among the stars and in other realities. And we can move on that zero point energy that has nothing to do with the limits of the speed of light or gravity. I guess I would have to say that a normal world out there, and there are many, would have a race of human beings on it that know what they are, that isn't a body. And they can get in and out of those bodies at will, and yet they can travel in spaceships as well for the body. They can also move to their destination well ahead of the craft. This is normal. I will raise these tones up to raise the vibration, making it a little more easy for all of you who might be on this journey, or who might tune into this recording of this journey, so that you can play it back and go on the journey for yourself. I'll begin those tones now. You. What these different tones are doing are working with the first half of the word human, Hugh. And it creates a certain harmonic frequency through the pineal gland in the center of the human brain and opens a doorway. So the being above that body running it can connect into the energy of the universe and be in communication, see and hear and experience in a knowing way what is taking place beyond Earth, not just out among the stars, but other dimensions and realities as well. A being awakened, running a brain and body, can do this. This is a giant step people on Earth will have to take. They're already the spherical being, what they call soul. Most people aren't aware of what that is. They identify with the physical body they know is temporary and therefore stay grounded to the earth. This is not correct. This is not normal. Earth is not yet a normal human planet. Everybody knows it down deep. They just don't know what to do about it. The first step for all life on any world system, on any reality, in any dimension, is to recover who they are and have always been. That is not now, nor has it ever been, a physical body or brain. Bodies do not run themselves. Bodies do not put themselves to sleep. The being unconsciously running it does that. And it's quite a process. And since this is true, it behooves all beings to become aware of what they are that's doing it. Doesn't it? Doesn't that make sense? Everyone knows what daydreaming is. It's the idle looking away from wherever you are on Earth, looking at a blackboard in a schoolroom or walking along a street and wondering about the trip you're going to take to the mountains over the weekend, or thinking about being in Hawaii, or thinking about what it's like to be on another planet. And you can imagine it. You've seen movies, TV shows that clearly describe other realities, other dimensions that were popular, that have already been done on this planet. The charted territory has been explored, and it's been open to the consciousness of people here. But most people aren't aware that these shows and these TV shows and these things about these other realities are written by people who are, for the most part, unconsciously seeing into those realities and thinking they're creating these stories all by their little brain. They're not. You can easily imagine being above your body near the ceiling looking down on it. It's just daydreaming. Just do it. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't try to make it perfect, like you're looking at a glass with your eyes open. Oh, there it is. The seeing and knowing and hearing of the Atma, the spherical being that's running that brain and body, can see more clearly, more deeply, on more levels than human eyes will ever be able to do. Getting the consciousness of a person raised on Earth aware of this is another matter. It's quite a stretch. I would share with all of you to think in terms of being able to be out of your body and see the multiverse and communicate with beings from other worlds who both travel in ships and out of their bodies as well as simply normal. Don't put it on a huge pedestal so far up out of your reach you'll never reach it. Every being running a body on Earth today, under the right conditions, is capable of recovering this awareness. If that weren't true, I wouldn't waste my time to share it with any of you. I wouldn't have come to this world to share it if that weren't true. When you're by the ceiling, you can look down on your body and see it sitting there with the eyes closed. If some of you are capable of looking with your eyes open and imagining being somewhere else, that's okay too. It's easier to shut out the outer world and all the negative stuff going on in the atmosphere of this planet. To consciously go out of your body, it's just easier. Now here's the thing. Don't make this a huge, gargantuan, difficult task. You all do it every night anyway. You're just not aware of it. Why would you be? Were you taught that growing up? Did your teachers in the university or school systems teach you any of this? Did your parents? No, not likely, or not very much of it, because they themselves were taught in a similar manner. So you don't have that confidence and that ease of operating the higher faculties of being at your disposal when you're an adult, but you can recover it. When you look out at everything from near the ceiling, floating there, looking at your body, you can look right through the walls of your house at the city where you live. You can be at 10,000 feet in the air instantly, and you're a spherical, luminous being, has a structure. It's not vague and etheric and ephemeral. It really has a real structure to it. It has a white core and a layer of teardrop-shaped lights and a layer that become like white to yellow, another outer concentric layer, get a little bit from yellow to orange to red to green to blue to lavender to violet to a golden exterior, the colors of the rainbow that comprise one individual being, like a drop in a mighty ocean of this pure energy that is not nuclear or atomic in nature whatsoever. And it is part of the energy that supports all that. You can be at 10,000 feet hovering there, lighting up the countryside from your own light and hovering above your body near the ceiling simultaneously at the same moment, both places at once, because the Atma, what people call soul, is a multi-dimensional nature to it. Since it is not made of matter, it can be in different levels of matter and experiencing this while the body on Earth is still alive, once it's discovered how to go about it. You can be out in space, far out in space, beyond Earth. You can see the polar ice caps of the planet, the continents, the seas. From out here, you don't see cities. You don't see aircraft. You don't see anything but one atmosphere around one planet with a dead moon hovering around it, with meteor craters all over it, no oxygen atmosphere. It does not turn on its axis, and it orbits the planet Earth. And in the distance, you can see our yellow sun, a star. It is spherical. The Earth and the moon are spherical, and you are hovering in space. And there are other beings here with us, kind, wondrous beings, who fully know who they are, that is not a body. And we are in a circle, all of us on this journey, hovering as spherical beings around. One being is a friend of mine hovering in the center of this circle, like stars around the center of a galaxy. And we are luminous spherical beings hovering in space. And you can see yourself at 10,000 feet in the atmosphere, looking down on yourself, hovering above your body. When I say yourself, I do not mean the brain and body at all. And in space, you do not feel heat or cold. You do not feel radiation from the sun. And you can see a body that looks just like yours on Earth, about 36, perfectly, flawlessly formed, perfectly healthy, made of energy, and it appears to be breathing. Yet you are in the void of space. It is a projection from the white core of your being so that you can share who you are with all the others that are here. It's a pure energy body made of the energy of the universe, mocked up, you might say. So here in space, a very good friend of mine is named Ambassador Torellian. He's from the human Sayres race. They are not from Earth and never were. He's showing you an 18-foot tall human body, perfectly formed like a Greek god, slightly curly, blonde, long hair, slightly pointed ears, big blue eyes, holding his two thumbs up. There's a golden white light around them, and he's holding a safe space for us. It's a technique. And when you look at what you think is the black void of space that you've seen in photographs of many galaxies you can find online on the internet, human eyes on Earth cannot detect beyond a certain frequency, though they detect it as black. But it isn't. To the Atma, the real you, it is a white golden light, supporting all the things that float in it in little gravitational concentric circles. When you look at Torellian, you can see a spherical being hovering above the head of this body he's showing you. A little brighter than us, perhaps, but it looks just like we do. The Sayres race vanished from this and other galaxies more than, I don't know, probably about 1 billion years ago, when they immortalized their physical forms. That does not mean they made their physical bodies, the DNA, live forever. It means they dissolved the DNA structure and stored it in one of the teardrop mechanisms in one of the layers that surround the white core of their being. They use the 0 point energy to mock it up. And he's showing you a body that you, if he was on Earth, you could go up and touch it. But he doesn't have the burden of carrying around a physical body like we do. He mocks it up and dissolves it back into a stored DNA pattern. He utilizes the energy of the universe to mock it up whenever he needs it. This is the way very much more advanced races and beings work. Most of those from the Galactic Alliance and the world systems that comprise it out in our Milky Way galaxy do not and have not done this. Some races that travel the stars have immortalized their physical bodies so that they do not age. I know of a couple, more than 3.5 million years old. The atmas above those bodies are still running them, and they represent more than half of the entire Milky Way galaxy. In that half, no war has occurred. The other half, where the Galactic Alliance is, there was a great war 500,000 years ago here that came to a violent end, and then a treaty was drawn. Earth has been stuck in the middle of that for some time. It's not just that, but Earth, unlike other worlds, has had consistent, cyclic, regular polar flips. It would destroy all land, raise new ones up from the ocean floor, quite virtually overnight. Very destructive. That kind of thing for Earth has been put to a permanent end. And we won't get into how that was done, but it wasn't done from Earth. And this is so people on Earth and those among the stars Well, people on Earth can continue to evolve now without this interruption every 100,000 years. When that would occur, the beings that could get off Earth would, those that couldn't died. And then Earth had to be recolonized, which means plant and animal and mammal life and human life had to be brought back here and reseeded on the world itself. That's just a little bit of Earth ancient history that is not known or taught in schools on the planet yet. There is solar system history going back many millions of years, and there is galactic history. And then there is intergalactic history, interdimensional history, and major divisions of dimensions history, all the way up to what people call the void in certain esoteric groups on Earth. And they think that's as far as you can go, which is not true. It's a barrier between even higher realities, which do not build upon and do not work in time and space, but it's still energy. When we're in space out here as Atmas, without the need to breathe oxygen, we are comprised of an energy that is indestructible. You cannot destroy an Atma. You can destroy a human body, but not the thing that runs it. There is a couple from another world called Xeonternomon 1, which exists on the other side of the Milky Way galaxy in one of the 7 spiral arms. It is 4 times bigger than Earth, and its little continent land masses all over it, little oceans between them, no polar ice caps, and 3 worlds at different distances the size of Earth with no polar ice caps that orbit this larger sphere. There are domed cities covering pyramidal structures on air all over that planet and on the moons themselves. In the distance, from here in space, you can see across the galaxy and see it mocked up in the space between Turelian and all of us in a circle around him. And you can see that this planet and its 3 moons circle what's called a trinary sun system. A big blue giant, white, what's called a big blue white giant. Further out, a yellow sun like our sun. Further out, a red dwarf. It's a trinary system. The beings on that world are humanoid, and you can see a couple standing between Turelian and us, just to the right of the worlds they're showing you. They're about 10 feet tall. They have long silver hair that looks like silver metal, but you just inherently know it's soft. Longer necks, longer fingers, longer arms and legs. They're 10 feet tall. It's a man and a woman, and they have violet eyes and ivory moonstone colored skin. This couple represent the administrators, let's call them, of world systems that comprise a little more than half of the Milky Way galaxy. And they're showing you the forms they have on that planet here in space, the spherical atma hovering above each one. And they're letting you know telepathically that those forms are more than 3.5 million years old, unaged. That is another form of genetic advanced science. Genomes on the DNA are switches. If you know the frequencies, you can turn those switches on or off. Earth science is coming to the point. It's being fed into this world gradually to where they realize that they can govern genomes in order to have disease go away. And if you can cause your own immune system to recognize cancer or COVID or anything else, they can go after it. Earth is going to get some surprises out of this whole pandemic thing that they're experiencing on Earth. It's forcing people to work together collectively around the planet for the first time in order to survive. Or we won't. Left to our own devices, people of Earth would have already annihilated themselves. Fortunately, we are not alone in the universe. Growing pains can be difficult, but we must go through them and make this transition. They're sharing this with you, and they aren't even from Earth. They're just simply sharing with you that they went through this a very long time ago. This couple and the people, the race they represent, did not originate in our galaxy. They evolved 5 galaxies away from here. Long ago came here to begin to colonize or populate worlds that were uninhabited. This is true of the other races among the stars. They too did not originate in our galaxy. Human beings did not originate in our galaxy. Where then did they come from? Here in space with Turellian. Here you can know and understand things and awaken things that have been long dormant and sleeping. We are outside of the negative influence of the atmosphere of Earth and all of its people. So when you come back to that body, you'll be bringing back with it, in a gentle, kind way, the awareness of this little excursion just beyond Earth, out in the space, out in this white golden light. The energy around Turellian's thumbs is simply a higher form of that light from a higher reality, and he's maintaining a space here so people on this journey will have a certain protection and freedom from subconscious negative drives for now. There are beings, a man and a woman, standing a little bit in front of you to each side, smiling at you. They are not from Earth. They are human. They come from other world systems, and they've simply projected out of their bodies, sitting in a chair, a lounge, or whatever on their ship, while other couples run it. And these are ships that are stationed in our solar system round the clock now. And they've simply gone out of their body to join us, and they are quite adept at helping people be free of subconscious, what are called implant negative programs. Because that's what makes people not aware of what they are on Earth and how they got there. It's a subconscious terror, and it needs to be neutralized. You who are on this journey will see a pleasant man and woman from another world system, part of a galactic alliance of world systems, who, if you ask them, they will assist you to begin the process of being free from things which drive you to make decisions based on subconscious fear. And this is true for every living thing on Earth. I was going to share with all of you to go to a higher reality, but I think Turellian is sharing with me that maybe this is enough. If we can just get people on Earth beginning to do this, so they can be aware of what it's like to leave their body and know it while they're listening to my voice in this telepathic function, then that helps people go back to Earth, download the experience, and it makes people more intelligent, turns on more of the brain. As the energy passes through your pineal gland from this journey, it begins to change things. It doesn't stop with you. It moves through you and onward to the rest of the planet to begin to change things for the better. If you wish, you should, well, I would recommend that you respectfully thank Turellian and some of these others who have come here on this journey. And if you're wise, you'll ask them for assistance to help you recover who you are and what you knew before you were born. That's how I would put it. When this is put up on Perry's YouTube channel as a recorded journey beyond Earth, take the time to set aside a couple of hours sometime during the next week, have some tea, some iced tea, whatever, so that you won't be disturbed by phones and interruptions. download the recording or play it on YouTube and go on the journey a second time, and you'll get a lot more out of it. Find yourself hovering at 10,000 feet, looking at your city far below. And if you're on the night side of the planet, you'll notice that everything is bright like daylight, and it is you that is illuminating the atmosphere around you. Find yourself hovering near the ceiling above your body, looking down kindly upon that physical. It's a type of machine that runs at 98.7 degrees Fahrenheit. A carbon-based DNA system that's been evolved. Under normal conditions, you should be able to run higher faculties of the Atma through it. There are many reasons why people don't use any more than 6 to 10% of their brain, simply because they've not grown up being taught how to do it. People claim to be afraid of leaving their body. They have to when the body dies. They do it every night. So the fear is unjustified and unnecessary. Be kind to yourself. Allow this experience to filter down into that brain, and let this golden white light pass through your brain in a widening sphere until it's several miles wide. And it'll set up a kind of a shield, and then it'll continue on out into the world, and it will connect with 3 pyramids that are now stationed on Earth. They are devices not made of matter, quite large, golden-sided, 4-sided, quartz-capped. There's a type of a fountain in the center of each one. There are 2 on the bottom of Earth's deepest oceans and 1 inside the hollowed-out interior of a mountain in the Himalaya. And they are beginning to move an energy through this solar system for great change. They're connected to a very much larger one, stationed between 2 stable asteroids in the asteroid field that circles in the orbit of a planet between Mars and Jupiter in our solar system. And they are projected from there out to larger ones now stationed between stars. And the energy goes back upward into higher realities from there. So be kind to yourself. Allow yourself the freedom and the choice to recover and remember who you are, what you knew before you were compelled to incarnate on this planet with little or no memory intact. When you're ready, open your eyes. Got your mic on there?
Thank you. Thank you for the journey, Scott.
You know, it
And
wasn't too, we could have gone to the Emerald Star Cruiser station in the ice rings of Saturn in our solar system, but it seemed like a concentrated focus on just being in the void of space outside of Earth's atmosphere is very important, because once a person utilizes their creative imagination to do this, just what they do when they're daydreaming and really not thinking about this kind of thing, they begin to understand what it's like to see into the multiverse and to know things that they weren't taught on Earth, to recover things. The beings that I introduce people to on this journey are very loving and kind, very much more evolved than people on Earth. And they're not interested in running the planet, running governments or anything like that. They are interested, however, in seeing the world change so that people can take their place. Also, they're very interested in finding out what the creative potential is in all the sleeping people on Earth with amnesia when it's awakened, how they can co-creatively contribute to great change, because the potential is there. If we get to a point relatively soon where beings can come here in massive numbers of ships and land and be treated with respect, they will come here and respect everybody. You won't have to pay for what they would provide us. They don't use money. This world is ready to make a giant leap. If other beings had not intervened, at least to the degree, not running governments, but keeping us from nuclear war, the beings on this planet, the decisions they made incorrectly would have annihilated this place already. So the first thing to know is that whatever your belief is, whatever a person's belief is, there is believing in a God and believing in a divine spirit, and then there's the experience of it. Off-world, out among the greatness of it, in which case we have to admit we have to come to rely on this living force as a co-creator, and we have to come to respect all the life that's out there, infinitely beyond what's just on Earth. If we want that kind of enlightenment, we can obtain it. The opportunity is there for people on Earth at this time. It's a big one. So I want to leave you with that, Perry, and whoever may watch the video later. I wish them pleasant dreams always and great unexpected enlightening change for the better.
Scott, I'd like to thank you to you and to all being friends for this journey and everything that they have done for us. And people on Earth might not know yet what you have done a lot for us, Scott. Thank you so much.
I wonder how many several hundred radio shows we've done in the last few years, probably.
Yeah, we have done like 3 years many.
A lot of them. And they're all on YouTube, so they're going to be found by different people at different times. But at least they're out there. My work, as people will find out, the books I've written, The Savior's Agenda and The Emerald Doorway, I might as well put them up because I'm getting ready to begin to promote officially very well crafted short videos. Woman's narrating them, some of them are non-narrated, about the Savior's Agenda. This is the Emerald Star cruiser I talked about that's stationed in the ice rings of Saturn. It's more than a mile long. Control rooms on each end, an anti-gravitic light around it, disc-shaped ships, changing the molecular time rate and passing right through the metal hull to land. There's no open launch bays in this type of craft. And it's here to protect Earth and other people from tyrant ETs coming here anymore. And it's here to see to it that we don't go out there and take our garbage and negativity out there either. It works both ways. There's the planet Saturn, big gas giant. This is all water, ice. So in the back of this book is a special technique section, one for the prologue and all 29 chapters that work with the hue like we did tonight, that can help people understand in their own way, following their own path, their own belief system, to have real experience on Earth while they're alive. And they can do whatever they want with that, but it'll probably be something kind and wonderful. This is the Emerald Doorway, book 1 of the Parallel Time trilogy. You see this on the front cover? That is what an individual atma or soul looks like. It has a structure. This is not nuclear matter. This center is made of the energy. How do I put it? This blackness out here, that all things like stars and planets and galaxies float in, and the doorways between dimensions. This is really a white golden light. When you're out of your body and looking at it, it doesn't look black. So dark matter isn't dark, is it? And this is the first of a trilogy of books that are written. This is the first published one. This is 100,000 years ago. This is what's now new continents after Lemuria was destroyed and the poles of Earth flipped. This is a master teacher not from Earth. He's carrying a device. This is a little creature named Etta who can defy gravity, who evolved on another world, mostly water covered. And he can levitate or fly through the air. He's silica-based, not carbon. This is a human male, a human female from another planet, blue skin. And this being is introducing them to the source. It's come through from the fifth reality above the void. There's his ship hovering stationary. They're on anti-gravitic discs which gravitate them, how do I say it? They're grounded to the disc and can fly it through the air with their will. This was not invented on Earth in comic book movies. This is something that exists long ago. And he's showing them what they look like. Right now, these three beings are being introduced to this, what it looks like. And there's one of these hovering above each of their heads. They do not know is there at this point. This is more than 100,000 years ago on Earth. So this has to do with extraterrestrial involvement with the planet in history people don't know. There's 3 of those. This is more about their involvement on Earth long ago. And this is more about what is going on that's changing in an unexpected new way out among the stars, that's passing through our solar system and will and is affecting Earth in unexpected new ways to help us get through this transition and not destroy ourselves. Okay.
And people can go to your website under this video link. Okay.
Yeah, at paralleltime.com, and you'll see free videos, and there's nothing for sale there. I have a book link that'll take you to both of these books. You can see the front and back covers, the chapter titles, and they have the links for like Amazon and Barnes and Noble and iBooks or ebooks, any one you want to get, to the proper sales page at online retailers so that you can get the books without hunting for them. But I don't have shopping carts at my 4 websites. Parallel Time is the main website, and that'll be up on your video.
Yes.
So people can click on it and go to it. Okay. So thank you, Perry, for having the courage to do this. It does take a little bit of courage, a little bit of kindness.
Yes, thank you to you, and thank you everyone for watching. If you like, please thumb up, subscribe, and share this video. Thank you, Scott. See you
Thanks,
next
Perry.
time.
See you next time.